That one is just absolutely beautiful. Why is that doing that to me? I don't want to be that little. Let me be big. Hey, everybody, how are you? And it's not letting it there. Why is that not letting me do that? What the heck is going on? I can't even get myself up there. There we go. Oh, my word. I swear to God, sooner or later, I'll figure this all out. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate everybody swinging in and watching some of the show. I know Richie has a live going on, and those are always, always, always fantastic. Learn a lot from them. And let's see, let's start with the first one in was BMO, who says Maine cryptids. You read a bunch on those, so let's go. Well, Sam agrees, let's go. Hey, Giovanni, how are you? BDA, yep, see, you're watching both shows. You're good there, being able to do that. I get so loopy and can't keep up. Believe me, I was typing to them earlier today and could not type anything right. So don't ask me to type up that I always carry a tape measure because it ain't gonna come out right. Revered Wolf, hey, how are you? Yeah, I know. It took a minute. You said you had everything set up. Well, somehow when I got in there, I ended up taking off the first video you put up there. And then, yeah, because it wouldn't let me even, like, come on. It had that all set up, so I didn't realize what the heck was going on. So I ended up getting deleted. And, yeah, it took me a minute. But I'm starting to get used to it, Sam. So, yeah, here I am. She tries to help me so much, and I always screw stuff up. Hexus Rider. If I'm real, then say hi. Hello. Let's see. Hi, Mary. How are you? Kind of. You seem like a very low IQ person. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's great. Let's see. Trying to catch up with everybody. I can't multi. Well, thank you, Giovanni. Well, I'm just, yeah, I'm just going by, yeah, people. Sorry, Sam. I'm just going by that I do make mistakes and stuff, but yeah, I think it's kind of nice to be told that I look like I have a low IQ, so it's, yeah, great. Anyhow, so tonight the show is on Maine cryptids. I decided to kind of, after the last couple of weeks with everything that's been going on, I decided to get back to basics and kind of just get back to what I enjoy doing. It was just, yeah, so I was like, yeah, let's just do this. Although today I did go out this morning. Sundays is my one day off, and we finally had decent weather where it was not raining. So I went out to a spot that I frequent a lot. And as of late, I've been finding stuff that isn't really big cat. It's a little different than that. I was able to find some tracks possible. I did take photos, I took videos, I took measurements and stuff. And I shared them with Richie and Wojo and Sam just to get their opinions on it. So I may do a show at some point on different evidence that I've been collecting as of late. If you have not heard, Richie wants to start up a YouTube live that is just for live when you're out, boots on the ground, which I think is going to be a phenomenal thing. I think it's a great idea. So we're going to sit down and discuss that more. and everything. So I don't want to tie you guys up too long. I'm going to keep my show going the way I normally do. But if you pop in and out going over to Richie's live and everything, that's perfectly fine. I understand because it's hard, like I said, for me to multitask. So you guys doing it, more power to you. I appreciate that. And Richie announced yesterday that tonight at 8, the Banter family, podcast family, is going to be on. Sam, what is the name of the show? Because I keep forgetting the name. I know it's Dale's, but if you could, pop that up or whatever, that would be great. So that people can check that out later on if they would like to, because I do think that that's going to be fun. It's going to be all of us, and it's just on somebody else's show, so it'll be kind of cool to be able to see, to listen and just it is going to be fun. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're just going to take over everything. Hey Johnny, how are you? The Paranormal Voice. Okay, tonight, the Paranormal Voice at 8. We will be on there, and yeah, well, that's sweet. Hey Jesse, how are you? So with Maine, I mean, you've got your normal cryptids that everybody has. You have, your if you're near the coast, there's most places have sea serpents. There's usually a lake monster somewhere around. Then you have Bigfoot sightings, which we have all the time. Dogmen, things like that. Now, some states have, stranger and different or things. And in folklore for Maine, which I wanted to kind of cover a little bit of that as well, is Bigfoot's part of that as well, because with the indigenous people, they have their stories. They also have stories of what they call cannibals, giants that are cannibals. They have Pamula, which I always loved the whole the spirit that protects Mount Katahdin. It's a really, really nice thing. I love that a lot. The link for the show. That's okay. That's the link for the show. Okay. Thanks, Sam. And then you have ones like the cougars sightings. Okay. There's wolf sightings. We even had what they called in 2016 Wessie. They named it Wessie because there was a large snake that was seen in Westbrook at one of the ponds. It was reported to police. Police went to check it out, and the police officer investigating actually saw this thing eating a beaver, and it was a very large snake. And then it just disappeared. A few weeks later, a snake skin was found in the park area. And when they took it for testing, it came back as green anaconda, which Maine doesn't have green anacondas. So I'm chalking that up to an exotic pet. Most people don't like the fact that I chalk it up to that, but it's very hard to think that that's not the way that it got here. And the other thing is the snake was never found. The snake skin was. So you have some people that always cry out, hoax and stuff, which without finding the snake or anything like that, it's hard to say. All I can tell you is that a green anaconda is not typical for Maine. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Yes. Okay. So BMO. Yes, we have Cassie. Cassie is the sea serpent of Casco Bay. And Cassie is one of the stories that you'll hear a lot of. The sightings go back to the 1800s. And what I like about the stories with Cassie is you hear the accounts from the sailors, like the first sighting, which I will go over all that because I have all that stuff right here. But this is Cassie. I did not upload pictures today, but this is like a depiction of Cassie. And when I was part of the ICM, I love that a lot just because I got to meet people from all over. And I actually was able to meet an older couple that would come in every now and then when they were in town because they came up to visit family. And the lady was telling me that at the hotel she was staying at. It was at the bay, at Casco Bay. She was out having morning coffee when she looked out over the water, and you've got the, fishing boats, you've got sailboats, and she swears up and down when she looked, there was a large creature's, head. The neck was long, the head was above the sails of one of the sailboats that was out in the harbor. And she will state it right up and down that she saw Cassie, which, when I get to hear the stories from people that, witness this stuff, I think that is extremely cool. And with Cassie, we'll go back to Cassie's original depiction. So Cassie was first spotted by Captain Benjamin J. Willard. He was a captain. He was, let's see, back in the 1800s, you kind of had a lot of different titles that were prevalent to being on a ship, including pilot, salvager, fisherman, pleasure boat captain. It's kind of like a little bit of everything, a little smorgasbord of everything. And he had his sighting in 1868 with the report coming off the coast. It said the crew started in the Nestle, in the Nettie in search, which is the ship. They cruised 3 days without seeing, because they were actually looking for Cassie. They actually went on hunts to try to find this sea serpent. He actually wrote a couple books, a book as well, because somebody said that the person that was doing it, let's see, writes the sea serpent was seen again in 1871. But there was somebody that was interviewed and said that, yeah, he seemed to like to embellish his stories, which I thought was kind of cool. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of people here. Rustum, bro. Hello from, hi. Hello. How are you? Wow, Russia. That is awesome. Oh, yeah, get over to Sam's. Yeah, I only see, I don't know which channel you guys are on when you're commenting, but like I said, I really, 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 really appreciate you being here. And so with Cassie, there was a write-up done, and I like what they had kind of put in here, and I'm just going to read this real quick. The existence of sea serpents in myth acknowledges the unknowable will of the wild, and the reminder in a relationship of this wild and vulnerable world, which I thought was kind of cool. But then you get down to the bottom part of it, and it kind of talks about how we as humans, we kind of think we know everything. So when it comes to like the sea serpents and for any of these other cryptids, there's a lot of times it's just a blocked subject because there's no way that these things exist. Hey, Kurt, how are you? Oh, let me see. That one wasn't in this article. I know that the sightings go way, way back. See, I love BMO. See, BMO, you are awesome. You're amazing. Because these are kind of like notes that I had over the years, because I keep all this stuff. Like I said, this room is just a mess of paperwork and stuff. And but it talks about how, we just think that we know everything, and science is, they know everything. And it goes back to, how did they word it here? I like this. Let's see. This view presumes that we are the ones who make the decisions, meaning that we know, what's right, and then it says, so much of this thought is within human control, in part because much of the thoughts to be within the bounds of understanding. Science can access the, wow, this print is very, very tiny. I am sorry, guys. I really suck at this. The mechanics of the very force of life down to the subatomic particles, and out of almost the flat and the flat back on the first instinct of the Big Bang reigning. So it's like, if science doesn't have their evidence, then it doesn't exist. And I really wish that things would broaden with stuff, especially when it comes to some of these cryptids, because you know what? There's things in the ocean, okay, that we still don't know about. And I'm not saying that it's a sea serpent, but there could be something very large, and eel-like. I mean, these things, a lot of these sea serpents are more, snake-like and stuff. Thank you, Jesse. And I just think that to close your mind off on things is just insane. You've got to keep an open mind, but you also have to understand a lot of times too that you're not always going to get the answers you want. And with that, there's, like I said, there's more. I mean, we went over, the little, because Wessie wasn't anything major. The Cassie is very big. I have talked before about the Palmyra pack, which is the dogmen sightings. Oh, thank you, Giovanni. It's my P22. I should have worn it last week when I was doing my episode on P22, but I forgot. And plus, it was only like 50 degrees here, so it was pretty damn cold. Yes, I'm popping everywhere. Thank you. So yeah, I was talking about the Palmyra wolf pack. And that is the dogmen sightings, because dogmen sightings are a common thing in the state. I've gotten reports from a sighting in Reef Field. There's been sightings in different areas, but this was the first one. Yeah, they are very quick to say that things don't exist, and I don't think that's right. I mean, yes, there are steps, and I do think that, science is right. There are steps we should take, but to say that just because they haven't seen it, and there's no evidence, well, that's what we're trying to get, is evidence for this stuff, okay? And you can't be closed-minded on this stuff. And even with, like we've said, with the oceans, okay, we haven't even come close to discovering everything that's in the oceans. And even on land, I mean, there's new species being discovered every day. So we don't know everything. Yeah, well, Champ is in Lake Champlain. Maine has one as well, and that is more of like a snake-like creature too. They call it Mooney. It's from the how is that? The Poco Moonshine Lake serpent is what they call it in Washington County. It's actually in Princeton. And it's described as a giant serpent that moves through the lake and nearby land. Let's see. Story started in 1882. Included huge, large trails near the lake. Said the creature crossed overland towards neighboring Crawford Lake. So, I mean, this one doesn't stay just in a lake. This one, like I said, is more serpent-like. I'm not sure with Champ. I have I know Katie Elizabeth. She does really good work with Lake Champlain and the stuff with Champ, and I think that one is not. It's not considered like a serpent. It's more considered like a lost dinosaur. Yeah, you have Chesapeake Bay. Yep, you do. They're all over the place. And I did find out at one point that I'm trying to figure out where I can't remember where Silver Lake is, but Silver Lake had supposedly a lake musk. Oh, did somebody ask who I was? Yeah, they're more snake-like in Georgia. Yeah, Maximus. I got to ask, because if you're in Georgia, because I can't remember, but a young gentleman. He was he's probably 9 or 10, but he wanted to inform me of a cryptid that was, I believe it was in Georgia, and it's called the shark beaver. But from what I understand, that is one of those folklore wives' tale things to try to keep kids from going too far out into the lake. But I found when I looked it up that the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife actually made signs up to put near the lakes for that, which I thought was actually kind of cute. A plesiosaur, yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they think that champ is and stuff. There's also Ogopogo in British Columbia, and that one's been getting a lot of notification in the mail too. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Cause yeah, I know the kid just said it was like a beaver shark, and I was like, what the heck is a beaver shark? But um, it's just cute hearing stuff from other states because like with I always try to find some type of answers. I do try to be scientific when I'm looking into stuff. Um, Silver Lake is it? No, no, no. That's not the one. It's in another state. Silver Lake's in another state. It was one that back in the mid 19 I want to say 1900s. Somebody made a sea serpent and put it out in the lake. There was sightings over like a couple summers and stuff, and then it disappeared. Well, the hotel in the town had burnt down, and when they were going in to do cleanup, they found the serpent with like the raft and everything underneath it. But the thing is even though the whole thing was set up as a hoax, the town actually still has a Silver Lake Monster Festival, which, yeah, I was like, wow. Native tribe name, yeah. High standing stones. Yeah, Maine is awesome. It's the rocky coast to the lush forest. I mean, we've got Mount Katahdin. It's a beautiful state. 90% of it is all forest area. It's hard to believe. I mean, you can drive just a few miles out of Portland, which is a major city here, and there's nothing but woods around. There's actually a state park that's just about 20 minutes away and stuff. And there's a lot of places for things to hide. And that's the thing with sorry, I keep doing that. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing. I don't mean to do that. It's just been a very long day. I was out hiking a lot today and stuff, and it's going to be a busy evening. And I really want to do the show, but I feel so bad. Okay. Yes. Okay. So it was 1855. I thought it was 1955, and it was upstate New York. That's what I thought. Yeah, it was a fake serpent, and they do have a Silver Lake monster, Silver Lake festival every year, and it's crazy. The lake, like Arizona, has lizard man, but it looks. Yeah, well, that's the same thing with Bigfoots. We've had this discussion before. Bigfoots and different regions, different areas, they look different. Okay, they're not the same. Um, you've got like a lot of the ones the stories that you hear from out west or the witness accounts. They're big and they're freaking brawny, and then in the east here they're more. They're a little bit more slender. They're not like beefy, but they're not scrawny either. And then you've got the skunk ape. They leave different tracks. The in the Midwest there, the Momo and the folk monster, they're actually when you get reports, they're like completely hair covered, even face and everything, and they're very aggressive from reports too that you get. But for some reason, they have three toes. If you see a lot of the prints for the Momo and the folk monster, they're three-toed. Yeah, well, I've had a lot of people telling me too. I mean, and actually, there's the book that Bruce S. Wright wrote, "They're Standing Stones," to answer that. Is yeah. I mean, you'll have there's guides, there's wardens that have seen them and stuff, but they don't usually report too much. He had one where a warden shot at one up near uh, Grand Lake, and he missed. And yeah, he felt bad at that he shot at it once he realized what it was and stuff. But they're not going to state that they're here. Yeah, there's also, well, yeah, it's the same. Are you talking about like the monsters? Are you the lake monsters, cryptids, or are you talking about mountain lions are cryptids as well, Jason? Because I'm not quite picking up on that question. But all right. So, anyways, back to the Palmyra wolf pack. That one, I know something big. Oh wow, that's kind of creepy. There, Giovanni. With that one there's not a whole lot on it. They do have, like, if you want to go on to YouTube, there's there's like stories of it, being told, of the accounts of it. A lot of that I think is embellished due to the fact that you can't find anything up to the thing except for the family's name, and that they were pinned down in their home by 5 dogmen. And it says that, they'd look out the window to try to see if the things had left, and they'd have the glowing eyes staring at them. Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw Jason's question, but I didn't quite get what he meant, because I saw that what about in Canada near the border of Maine. I'm trying to figure out what he's asking me about that. Because if he would ask me, I mean, if I knew exactly, I would try to answer better, but I'm not sure. Yes. Yep, it was. And see, but the thing is when you do, because there's like 2 little tiny excerpts I found on it, and you've got where it mentions just Shelley and Eric, which is the husband and wife, and then there's another one that mentions the daughter and everything, and it says that they did call the police, and it did say that there was tracks found around their house. I don't understand why the police didn't come out to look if they, felt that threatened and stuff, because they did call because they were terrified. Hi, Eduardo. Bigfoot. Okay. All right. So, yeah, well, that's the thing. I do think a lot of these cryptids go between Maine and Canada. I do, especially with the mountain lion sightings. I mean, because they don't know borders. There has been a mountain lion sighting down in the Calais Lubec area, where one, and this was years ago, but one was reported, a married couple reported seeing one swimming across the St. Croix River. So I don't see how they don't know borders, and there's places in there that you can cross that doesn't have to, you don't have to do a checkpoint. For people you do, but and even back in the day, I used to live in Calais, and I can tell you what, I know plenty of people that just went up a little ways and took a little boat and just, took it over. Oh, wow. Oh, that is really cool. No snarl, no growl. Wow. Yeah, so it's for me, that one, I mean, it's a cool story. And I mean, like I said, I have had reports of, dogmen even given to me. It's hard to decipher on that one how much I can take. I'm sure that they did see the stuff, because that does report it. But then when you go and you try to listen to what, the events that happened, I do think a lot of it gets blown out of proportion. I also don't think that they really want to talk too much about it. So that's probably why others are trying to tell the story, because they were terrified. And to me, I would be too if the things had, decided to stick around outside my house all night long. But the encounter that they give on there's a couple different podcasts that do it that discuss it and stuff. That's when I've said it before on a different show that it just reminds me too much of the movie Dog Soldiers, the way that they do it, because they've got them climbing the house and they've got them doing this and that and everything. More intelligence, only menacing and frightening, just the same, like a strange, calm, hostile menace, almost gentle. Yeah, I still don't know how I'd react coming face to face with a dog man. I have no idea. I've yet to come face to face with a Bigfoot. I've seen plenty of signs, but I have yet to come face to face, and I don't even know how that would go. I've had a bunch of people, because I've done this for so long, and at least with Bigfoot, and had such an interest in it that everybody's like, I can see you now. You're going to be waving, and you're going to be, all, hey, I'm over here. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, see, I don't understand BMO, because there was very little that you can actually find on that. So it's hard to know exactly what the truth is that's being said. And I do feel bad for the family, because I do think that they did see something. I mean, they were terrified, but they just don't. I don't think that they want the publicity from it either, because you've got to think, even with that, it's going to kind of be a lot like when somebody has a Bigfoot sighting, they're going to want to just like, you're going to have people wanting to come check the area out and stuff, and they may not want that. I know I wouldn't want a ton of people just trampling through my place. Hi, John. Wait a minute. Hold on. What was back here? Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. What kind of big cats do you normally see in Maine? Usually it's bobcats and Canadian lynx. And the Canadian lynx are in danger, but boy, have they made one heck of a comeback, because the past 2 winters, people have been getting them left and right on trail cams. They're actually in city limits. There was one 2 years ago that was in Brewer in somebody's backyard. Oh, really? I did not know that, BMO. The original story. Wow. Yeah, no, have no idea. I've never heard that. And like I said, I was trying and trying and trying to dig up anything I could find on that, and it was crazy. Hi, Rachel. How are you? Oh, they were on Paranormal Witness. When it comes to this stuff, it doesn't matter if it's dogmen, if it's Bigfoot, even if it's the mountain lions. The second that you say you see something, most people do would just assume that you are crazy. It's just the way it is. I never understood that. That's why I'm glad I found this family here, because I know I can discuss this stuff and I'm not going to be told that I'm crazy. People are going to understand. I don't really care. When I had my own sighting, I had, like I said before, I'd started speaking to some journalists, and I had written down what I had seen, and he asked for a copy of it, and without telling me, he published it in his hunting magazine, and did not tell me. So I ended up having strangers coming up to me, and people that I knew telling me that, oh, you didn't see what you thought you saw. I mean, you saw a bobcat. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Because I had no idea that that was even done. And yeah, when I did find out, I had no issue with him. I just wish he had told me he had done it. But I had no issue putting those people in their place, because you can tell me that, and yes, eyes do play tricks on people. I'm not saying they don't, but I know exactly what I saw. I actually drew it out, what I saw. I casted the track that I found. It's like, I'm not crazy. I am absolutely not crazy. Yeah, Florida has the yeah, we've got oh wow. I have not heard of that. That is cool, BMO. I actually got to write that down because I want to know more about that. That is really, really awesome. Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to keep up with things. Honestly, guys, I am not zoning or anything. I'm just trying to make sure that I answer everybody because we've had some really good stuff and BMO keeps throwing up some really good stuff, which I absolutely love. Thank you so much for that, BMO. It is really, really nice because it's, well, for me, it's nice that somebody else has the passion for this as well. And it's, like, I got the best compliment the other last week from BMO about the passion that I have for these big cats. But I love the passion that BMO has for, all of this stuff. I mean, and the answer, if you have a question, man, bam, BMO is right there. Dogman encounter on the wow on the way to work. Yeah, see, no, like in Maine, we had there was one called the Turner Beast. It's a cryptid, and that one is very, very different because they figured out what the heck it was, and yet because this animal that was what they called deformed, and it just didn't seem like it was anything, that anybody knew. It's the Turner Beast right there. Had popped up, it had been hit by a car. Well, I guess months and months and months prior to that, people's animals were going missing. Doberman had been attacked, a Rottweiler had been attacked. A whole bunch of different things had gone on, and they kept hearing these what they called animal screams that they'd never ever heard before. So when this animal ended up showing up dead. Couple found it and they reported it to inland fisheries and wildlife, to have somebody come out and look at it because it was, see, what was it? It was found dead after apparently being hit by a car in Turner, Maine. For years, residents across Androscoggin County have reported seeing and hearing this mysterious animal with chilling, monstrous cries and eyes that glow at night, with residents wondering if the animal found dead over the weekend is the mysterious creature. And it goes on to say that when they called, because it was Michelle O'Donnell of Turner who spotted the animal, and she had, like I said, gotten a hold of the proper authorities on it and stuff, but they decided not to come out to look at it right off. And by the time they did get there, it was mainly gone because it had been scavenged on and stuff. But they were able to get some DNA samples. One story says they did, another one says that they didn't. Hey, Andrew Gnomes Trucking Express, how are you? Arrow Crusher, hello, how are you? And they did get, one story says they got DNA, a new story says they got DNA, another one says that they didn't. But the one that says when the DNA come back, it came back actually a dog wolf hybrid. And so it's not that much of a mystery, but there's still people to this day that will tell you that that's not what it was. It was something else. Could it have been? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, there's two different reports. One says that there was, DNA testing done on it. The other one says they didn't even bother. So, oh, hold on. I'm missing something here. Uh, you need a 1-2. Okay. All right. I think yeah, we go. All right. I just saw a Grimo. Oh, Dinosaur, wow, very weird among the world. Yeah, weird. Because this whole the when it comes to cryptids, you got to think some of this is stranger than strange, and then some of it is, I don't know. For a lot of us, it's one of those things of, oh wow, this is so cool because what if? Um, and I think that's what drives us. We want to know more. We want to learn more. We want to just find out the truth, and that's what I love doing. Why I love doing what I do, because I can get out there and I can look. And thank you, BMO, because that's, yeah, I do. They said wolf, dog hybrid mix, but yeah, I do think it was a chow wolf, because it did actually look similar to a chow. Yeah, we do see. The thing is, though, is, I mean, we've had chupacabra sightings too in the state. Um, that I got directly from the state biologist, who, when he showed me the picture of it, it was not a chupacabra, it was a dog with mange. But I have had people tell me things that are completely strange when it comes to the chupacabra sightings. And I've seen something that ran in front of me that did not look like a coyote with mange. It just looked very, very strange. But I don't know what exactly it was, but I'm not about to say chupacabra because I don't know. And I do have my own theory on chupacabra anyways, but I will keep that to myself for right now. uh, yeah, it's, you just want to find the truth. Um, like a foxman or no, I haven't heard of anything like that. And like I said, with the cryptids, I mean, there's just so many that are similar to what, they're all over the place. I mean, the lake monsters, the sea serpents, Bigfoot, dogman. I mean, the list goes on, and even the chupacabra ones. I have gone over all of those. And then you have the ones that aren't supposed to be here, like the mountain lions and the wolves. And I did look into that too, because Maine does have a Maine Wolf Coalition, and there have been sightings that go on with that, and a lot of times there's a lot of headbutting with that. But I did find that it was actually kind of cool, because once they get backed into, oh, that's cool, yeah. Well, yeah, it's, well, the first story of the chupacabra came out of Puerto Rico, and the woman who described it had it looking like it was some type of little alien with spikes. And then she turned around and told them, after she had done her statement, that she had just watched the movie Species. So a lot of that, I can go with what BMO saying there too, is a large hairless dog. But there's it's hard to say. Like I said, I have a theory on it, but until I know more, I'm not going to throw my theory out there, because I don't answer anything or try to answer anything that I don't know for sure. I just, like with this stuff here, this stuff is stuff that's gone around. It's stuff that I know other people know and everything. But if it's something that I'm not completely 100% sure, I don't do anything. Yeah, well, they will. I mean, they call a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of like videos that people put out there, like, "Oh, I've got a chupacabra," and we captured it, and mainly it's been poor raccoon with mange. The thing was using its paws. They were feeding it dog food. It was awful. Yeah, I will look them up, because I want to know more about those, because that would make a lot of sense on that. But with so going back to the wolves here and stuff, it's kind of like the mountain lion stuff. I thought it was kind of funny that, um, people raise that question of they've seen the wolves, have the wolves made a comeback, and they won't answer with a simple yes or no. They prefer to just kind of play it the way that they do the mountain lions, and that say that there's no established population. With the mountain lions, though, they say there's no established breeding population. They're not doing that with the wolves, but they also, they have to make sure that that there's no established population of the animals here, which granted there isn't with the mountain lions, but we have them. I'm gonna fight that until the day I die. And like I said, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think it's a good fight. I'm gonna fight the fight. I think it's worth fighting for. I actually just got done on Friday talking to a reporter from the the Atlantic magazine out of Washington. She had reached out because she had questions about the possibility of mountain lions recolonizing in the eastern states. And somebody had mentioned my name and my sighting and the research I did. So I had a lengthy conversation with her the other day. And that's the thing, organically. Yeah. I mean, they do move around in transit, but I think they're coming back organically yep. And that's what's great about it. I think that's what happened in Michigan too. People have been having the sightings in that state for years, especially in the Northern Peninsula. And they kept saying, no, no, no. And now, because of the woman getting the two on her, the video from her car of the two cubs there, they have now declared that they do have babies, and they're acknowledging the fact that they have a breeding population. Yeah, I don't bother with local news anymore. Mr. Dash too. But yeah, so that's, I mean, there's certain things and just certain stuff, and I don't want to go over too much, but I do really, 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 really want to discuss a little bit about Pamula, because that is our precious guardian. And I say precious meaning lovingly, because I love this whole thing. And I'm missing something here because I pulled it out earlier, but I must have dropped it. But yeah, the Pamula is the guardian of Mount Katahdin. And when you get the descriptions of Pamula, he has a moose head, a human body. He has got wings of an eagle, wings, and he's got he's got talons. Yeah, he's got like the bird legs with the talons. I'm trying to get because it's the way they depict him in so many different things. There's so many different ways that he's done, but I love the fact that he just kind of, he protects over, he watches over, he's there so to make sure that there's respect. And for a while there, you supposedly weren't able to climb to the top of the mountain. It was kind of like an off limits thing, or Pamula would bring down a wrath upon you. And it's just one of those, because I love the stories from what are your thoughts on the possibility more than one source where the dogmen may be from? I don't think it's all shapeshifters. I don't know. I'm sure there's more than one dogman. Oh God. Linda Godfrey did really, really good work on that. I would be checking into some of her stuff because literally when she did the stuff, she was getting the report. She wasn't even working on the stuff. And she started getting reports. And she actually, the witnesses she talked to, she had them go through lie detector tests. Body of a man, head of a moose. Yeah, the wings and feet of an eagle. So I had it right, BMO. Thank you. Trying to remember everything. It's like my brain is like, ah. Like I said, thank you so much, BMO. But I like that because I like the stories when growing up, I liked anything that I could learn about the native culture. We had in the east and eastern Maine, there was the Micmac tribe, then there's the Penobscot tribes and stuff, and now they're all one nation together. Now they've all joined together, and just hearing the stuff. I mean, they have their own legends of Bigfoot. They have the legends of the ice cannibals. Not all shapeshifters, or yeah, I don't know anything about the shapeshifters, and I don't get into the government experiments. So I don't know anything on that. I just I try to stay away from the shapeshifter stuff. Freaks me out. Paranormal stuff freaks me out. Like I said, I would rather be out in the woods with something 8 to 10 feet tall that could rip me to shreds. I'll be fine. Than deal with something that can like shapeshift and freak me out, or something paranormal that could torture me for the rest of my life. Oh, you're thinking, like in a spiritual realm, manifest into hours. Yeah. That's a good theory. I don't know. Because I always try to stick with like this, flesh and blood. It's here, it's there. But I have learned a lot from Richie and Wojo and realized that, it's not just black and white. Because then I come down to, this whole thing of, the sciences, everything needs to be proven. Oh, wow. They're usually recorded wearing clothing. Wow. I don't see UFOs in the sky at night. I have not seen one at night. I've seen something I couldn't explain during the day, and I did get a hold of one of the gentlemen from the UFO thing there that you report, just to see if there was any planes or anything weird, or somebody else reported it. But yeah, you'll have to investigate it. It's a really, it is. And there's a lot on Pamula. Yeah, you did, Sam. I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't. Yeah, see, that is like, that's creepy to me. That's so creepy to me. I don't understand. Yeah, and so the last one that I'm going to finish off with, though, is one that I've done before. I've talked about it before, but I did a talk on this as well, and it's the specter moose, and it's the white moose that people have reported seeing in Maine. It can vanish in front of their eyes for some, others it doesn't. But what's different is you've got, your typical moose is big, don't get me wrong, but this one here actually stands between 10 and 15 feet tall. And the span of the antlers are supposed to be like 5 feet. It's massive, and it dates back to, let's see, starts back in 1891, where a hunting guide, Clarence Duffy, reported seeing the large moose while Duffy was working around Lobster Lake. And then later on, John Ross, a lumberjack from Bangor, also saw the large moose while working on Lobster Lake. They spoke of the enormous moose, and other reports started coming in. And then they kept going on. And then you get all these different stories throughout the years, and they continued for quite a while. But what I like to do with a lot of this stuff, if anybody knows me, and the reason that I wanted to leave with a specter moose was because, yes, could it be something that's... Oh, that would be cool. That would be really, really cool if you could find more depictions, encounters with children. Yeah. Yeah. Old Moxie. And the stories went on. I mean, there was people were riding by, they're riding his bike. The thing kind of darted at him, treed him. He was up in the tree for hours at a time before the thing went off. Another person was out walking and ended up getting chased into a wood pile where the thing kept just jumping over it and jumping over it and jumping over it before it was gone. A hunting party supposedly shot and killed this white moose. They had, sorry, the description is very bad, but they slit the throat, hung it up, to drain it and stuff so they could get ready to dress it in the morning. And when they got up the next morning, it was gone. They were all kind of flabbergasted. A few hours later, this moose supposedly walked back through their camp, through their hunting camp, slit throat, just kept walking through. Freaked them out. They started shooting. And then a few hours later, it was seen 90 miles away in another town. So it's insane with a story. But then you get to the point, though, of, okay, so you had where it disappears and where, it doesn't. So how much of this is this, the folklore, or could this be a real animal? And so that's when I start looking, well, I want to find out. I want to know what the possibilities are. And when you look it up, granted, size-wise, with a moose, you can exaggerate the size. They are massive, okay? They are huge. So to me, if I looked at a moose, I'd probably say it was about 15 feet tall just because they're big. So I started looking into it. And there is a forest in Canada with moose in that forest that is called the Spirit Forest, and all of them are white with brown eyes. And the spectre moose is white with gray eyes, is what the story is for that. These moose have a genetic anomaly called elusive. And there's also another group of moose, I believe it's in Norway, that there's an area where they have the same. So then you start wondering, could it be, a very large moose that they've been seeing that has that genetic anomaly? Don't know. But the spectre moose is one of those stories that sticks in with the cryptid community, and it sticks in with the folklore. And I have had people actually come up, one young woman, because I was discussing it, because I found it very, it's a very fascinating topic. Could it be, the spectre moose, or could it be, an actual, animal with a genetic anomaly? And she was like, thank you so much for explaining the spectre moose. I thought I was crazy. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, when I was a kid, she goes, and she was probably 18 at the time I was talking to her. She goes, I was like 12 or 13. She goes, my parents took a ride into the Maine mountains and then over towards New Hampshire and back. She goes, and I was in the back seat and I was sleeping. She goes, and I wake up to them yelling at each other because my mom can't understand why my dad didn't see that giant white moose that was in front of their vehicle one minute and then it was gone the next. And it was just kind of, it was cool to hear that, there was somebody who was, she thought they were crazy, but then she realized, well, maybe they're not, because she had never heard of anything, no white moose, no spectre moose, no nothing. Yeah, the spectre moose is really good. Like I said, I wrote a paper on it. I did a discussion, a topic, and then I ended with the leucism thing. Plus, there is also a tick-borne disease too that can do that can turn the fur white. I found out as well. But it's still one of those fascinating things. I do love the spectre moose, whether it's the spectre moose or it's a spirit moose. an actual moose. I'm fine with either because I do think it's great. Yeah, from the top of the head. So they're huge. So yeah, you can say it's 15 feet. And even if it's 11, I'm going to say it's 15 feet. So yeah, they're huge. So, anyways, all right. Well, we've run a little over. I don't want to keep everybody from Richie's show. Plus, we've got to get ready for the next one that's on at 8. So I want to thank everybody who came and joined in to the conversation. I really appreciate the support. And I will end it with, make sure you check out Wojo's show on Tuesday night, Home of the Boom. I don't know exactly what he's got going on. That's right. Well, albino, they have the red eyes. With the leucism, they have the white fur, the white rack, but they still have the natural color eyes. But many sightings did happen on the, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Moose, usually they'll go away from you. The only time I get really nervous with moose is males, because males are unpredictable, and they will charge and trample. Rutting season is bad time. I had a friend actually driving in his pickup truck, and the moose charged him from the side of the road and tried to ram his truck just because it was rutting season and he didn't like him in the area. So thank you guys. Sam's show. Remember to watch Sam's Pretty Paranormal. Sam After Dark, I should say, her spooky stories. Although last week we got Richie, who did a fabulous job, him and Wojo. And Richie stepped right up to take over for Sam for a little while. And if you haven't seen the show, please check it out because it was fabulous. And of course, you've got the core show, Banter with Richie B, Saturday nights. Richie is back. We are so happy, so thankful. And I will see you next Sunday and try to figure out what we're going to discuss then. Until then, remember, sometimes in life and research, you have to say, what the hell? Good night, guys.